All right, guys, John, Feldman Physical Therapy and Performance, talking today about proper warm-ups and things that you can do. So everything from how do you warm up for a run, my soccer warm-up, my dynamic warm-up, using a foam roller, lots of different things out there, but we're gonna be going through all those today. Hopefully, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's a lot of information. Like anything, access to proper information is what we feel is the best and most helpful for people. So we want to try and dispel some of the myths surrounding those, some of the benefits of each of them, and what's probably going to be most appropriate for you as well. So we kind of have, as always, we like to kind of wrap it up at the end and kind of give a summary. So we'll talk about what the best is going to be for you and what you can do and how you can kind of pick and choose. But in the meantime, we're just going to start getting down to it. So, guys, we have to say thank you so much. YouTube channel is growing. We're getting really close to getting up to 1,000 subscribers. So we thank you guys for watching. We thank you for kind of sharing and giving some likes. So if you wouldn't mind doing that again for me, please. If you have not subscribed already, we would love to get your subscription. Give us a little follow, give us a like, throw us some comments in the feedback section too. That'd be awesome. Or tell your friends about it. So, without further ado, let's just get into it. So, what is a proper warm-up? What should a proper warm-up be? In order to kind of get your body ready for an activity, it really depends on what type of activity you're going to do and what state of physical, preparation you're coming from right now. So, for instance, if I'm out there with, some friends and we're, at a park and I'm just kind of throwing a frisbee around, you don't really need to warm up for that, so to speak, right? But let's just say I took a road trip, or I drove, 2.5 hours to go to a game, or let's just say last weekend we were on the Stockade bus and we were, on the bus for, hours and hours. You want to get out, you've been sitting for a while, you haven't been doing something, so you want to loosen your body up, kind of, get your body ready to start moving again. Ultimately, that's what the warm-up is for. It's just to kind of get your body ready a little bit. Your warm-up in certain aspects, right? So for my soccer players, or any kind of multi-sport athlete or a field athlete, things like that, you want to actually make your warm-up start to feel like a workout, so to speak. You want to get a sweat going, all right? That's the whole purpose of a warm-up, is to increase oxygen delivery to your muscles, increase your blood flow, increase your heart rate a little bit. So I like to use the marker as if you're sweating a little bit, you're probably doing your warm-up right. But if your warm-up is kind of lackluster and you're really not getting that much out of it, you're not warming up, you're not getting a sweat going, you don't feel like you're working that hard, you could probably push yourself a little bit harder, right? Because again, the goal is to just increase blood flow, increase oxygen delivery to your muscles, because presumably during your workout, your body's gonna be using a lot of oxygen for fuel. So that's really the whole point of it. So I love a good dynamic warm-up, with my soccer teams, open the gate for the legs, close the gate, do some inchworms, lunges, rotations, things like that. And it's always progressive in nature. Okay, so I'm always starting them nice and easy. We do skipping a few times through, and then we'll do skipping again maybe 5 minutes later, but it's always progressive in intensity so that they're starting to get a sweat going. So in the beginning, it's great, it's nice and easy. We kind of walk through the motions, and then by the end of the 10-15 minute warm up, we have a good sweat going. So that's what I love doing. It's something that I want to start using with my runners a lot more, is more of this dynamic warm up component, just to kind of get your body a little loose. Because traditionally with running, people always ask me, what should I do? Sure, you can do whatever you need to. If you feel like your hips are tight, sure, get into a little bit of a dynamic movement, loosen them up. You can do some lunges, some squats, things like that. But generally, I like to build my warm-up into my run, right? Especially if it's gonna be increasing in intensity. Running is a different ball game than like a multi-directional sport, because with running, you're just kind of going in a straight line for a prolonged period of time. So one, we do like our runners to get a little bit more dynamic lateral motion because they don't do a whole lot of that. But two, your warm-up can be built into your run depending on what you're doing that day. If you're gonna be sprinting and doing hurdles, well, then you need to get into a little bit more hip flexion, maybe a little bit more knee flexion, some quicker movements, because your legs are gonna be turning over much quicker with a lot more demand as well, right? So the type of activity you're doing is going to really dictate what type of warm-up you need to do. Conversely, if I'm just going out for a long, steady run, I can build my warm-up into it. I can go in for I can walk for a few minutes. I like to walk for at least 2 to 5 minutes anyway, just to kind of get the blood flowing a little, get my ankles looser. I do some neck stuff, again, torso rotation. A lot of it is very psychological. People have a habit or a pattern they like to do. If you watch a baseball player at bat, they have their ritual, what they do. They adjust their collar, their necklace, their batting gloves, their stance, they tap the bat. So a lot of that can be very psychological to get you ready for the activity. But at the same time, with running too, it's like just gradually build it up. If you're gonna be doing higher intensity work, maybe stop a little bit and then do a little bit more of a dynamic, do gradual accelerations and decelerations. So that's great for running type work. So up to this point, we've talked about a good dynamic warm-up to get a sweat going, to loosen up the tissues of your body, really prep the joints for what their job is going to be. Baseball pitcher, if they're going to be throwing, they'll start 5-10 yards apart and they'll do X amount of tosses, right? So nice and easy, and then they'll back it up. Another 5 yards or 10 yards, they'll do a few more pitches at that distance or throws at that distance. So they're progressively increasing the distance and the intensity, and also they're going to be loosening up the tissues that they're going to be using. So loosen up the joints. You can do some mobility drills if you want, lower body dominant, upper body dominant. These are all great ways to prepare your body for the activity you're doing. You want to mimic the same motions, but just at gradual increasing intensity. So those are other great warm-up options. So now what I want to get into is some foam roller work. Okay, so just put this guy on the ground. So the foam roller is another thing that people love to use to warm up. Whether it's on the side of the fields, before the side of the track. A lot of our lifters out in the gym, right? People will be, foam rolling their tissue before or after a workout. Foam roller can be a great tool if it's used appropriately. Everybody asks me, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? My question is always, why do you want to do it? Why do you think you need to do it? What do you think the benefit is going to be from that? I just want to get an idea of where they're coming from and why they may feel that they want to use that tool. And foam rolling is no different. I tell people, okay, yeah, foam rolling can have its benefits. I think its benefits are overstated in a lot of circles, but at the same time, it can offer great benefit. Everybody loves to get a massage, okay? Well, I should say most people love to get a massage. It just feels good, right? I mean, it feels good on your skin, on your tissue, anywhere on your body. But then think of this, like say you whack your funny bone. What's the first thing you do? Aside from cursing, which I'm not gonna do on screen, you rub it, right? You kick your shin on the coffee table, you grab it, right? Or I'm a soccer player, I get kicked in the shin. Now, before or after I roll around, I'm gonna start grabbing it, right? And rubbing it. That's because that touch sensation actually helps mask the discomfort that you're feeling, that you go up into a point. You have pain that goes up to your brain in one pathway, and then your touch receptors go up on a different pathway, but they're both trying to get to that same door to get into your brain, okay? So the touch receptors send a signal on a nerve that travels much faster. So think of the nerve that carries your touch sensation as having a faster speed limit than the nerve that carries the pain signal, okay? So, again, very reductionist, but we're just gonna call it that. So if you have a painful area, that's going up to your brain on a pathway that's much slower than the touch is. So if I touch that same area, well, now that touch signal is gonna get there much quicker than the nerve that carries the sensation that we know as pain. So foam rolling can mimic that exact same thing, okay? So that's why when people are sore, they love foam rolling because they feel better afterwards. You're basically, you're temporarily numbing down that area. It's like getting a massage, you feel good. You're exciting all those mechanical receptors, those touch receptors and other mechanical receptors in that area that are going to override any discomfort that you might be feeling, whether it's muscular soreness from a tough workout the day before, leg day, you're gonna foam the next day after leg day, you may foam roll a little bit. So we call that the neurodynamic effect, where you can actually kind of create a temporary analgesic effect, a temporary numbing effect, which is going to make you feel better, right? So that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. Getting rid of soreness and discomfort, sure, that's always good as long as there's risk reward that's in our favor. So people love doing this for their hamstrings, to loosen them up a little bit. You can do them for your quads, your calves. But generally the rule of thumb, because we love to look at the research shows that after about 30 seconds on each area, each body part, your kind of benefits are wasting away. So the risk reward scale, after about 30 seconds, you're probably better off moving on to a different body part. And then once you've exhausted those 30 seconds in each area, a couple minutes altogether, your time is probably going to be better spent doing a different type of activity to loosen you up or warm you up or do anything of that sort. So again, foam rollers are great. I used to think that these were, great, and then I used to think that all those are terrible, they don't do anything, but now I've kind of come back to the middle with what the research shows and what people anecdotally say. This can provide a great benefit, if used correctly and if people understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. So no different than if somebody has those sticks and they use them with the rollers. So I like to give them to my soccer players all the time before the game. It was carried in the locker room, so for the quads, the calves, hamstrings. Again, sometimes it can be very psychological where it's placebo, but other times it can definitely give you a physical benefit and make you feel a little bit better. So those are really three of the good ways that you can kind of get a warm up into some common activities. Whether it's lifting and you want to use a foam roller, whether it's for a dynamic sport and you want to do a dynamic warm up. I don't care what the sport is, but if it's multi-directional, you want to get your body moving in different directions. For running, if you're running in a straight line, build your warm up into it. Don't be afraid. You can do some lateral motions and some bigger movements beforehand to get the joints loosened, but go for a walk. If you're going to be obviously doing a heavier workout, for track like hurdles or sprinting, maybe get your knees up a little higher. You want to gradually get your legs turning over a little faster. So again, the big take home behind a warm up is you need to mimic the activity that you're going to be doing, and you need to think of the demands that you're going to be putting on your body, and you just want to mirror them. Start gradually and build up more and more intensely and more volume, and that's really it. Hopping, jumping. You always want to build up the intensity gradually. You never want to start, from 0 and then go right up to 100. So that's really the purpose of a warm-up, is to get your body used to the demands you're going to put on it, get your heart rate up a little bit, get yourself sweating so you can increase oxygen delivery to the muscles, and that increases your core temperature just enough to get the job done and get more oxygen delivery and get your body, your soft connective tissues loosened up and ready to work. So our take-home message is really understand what your body's going to be doing. So start thinking of the demands, kind of write down some things that you're going to be doing for that activity, and then just see what kind of motions you can do to mimic them, but at a gradual intensity, and get creative. We love to hear what people love to do to get their own tips and tricks. So I want to hear what you guys are doing to get warmed up. So leave us some comments. Any videos or specific warm-ups, movements, exercises, stretches, mobility drills that you like to do. Let us know. The list is endless of what you can do for this kind of stuff, and there's really no right or wrong, despite what a lot of people on the internet will say. As long as you're doing a gradual increasing warm-up, you're doing right by your body, and that's really all we care about. So that's really it for today, guys. Like I said, let us know if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments on this stuff, anything fun you like to do. Again, thanks for the subscriptions. We're climbing up there. We're reaching the viewers, and we love it. We do it for you guys. So thank you so much. So again, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We'll see where Justin's going to place it in this video. I don't know where it's going to be, but he'll put it somewhere. And that's really it. So those are some thoughts, some musings on warm-ups, different things that people use, and get after it. Happy training.